We're just generating worlds because
Oh no, that's why I joined.
setting stuff
That's why
up.
I did this. Seems like a good time. So the trolls thing, we actually figured that out.
Oh, did you?
The Goblin sites weren't going underground, so
So
they just didn't have trolls.
they literally went extinct. My theory was correct.
But yeah, apparently this has been a thing since 50.01, I guess. This might also be why, like, in the adventure mode tests, Goblin sites were fast. Well, it turns out, if you look at the wiki, you'll find that it claims that they're slow because of trolls. So so we're probably gonna have to take a second look at that.
Yeah, because like, well, one of the things that used to happen in like Goblin Towers is you'd end up in an area that was just packed with goblins and trolls, and then all the goblins would like immediately ask the trolls who they were, and then the trolls were unable to respond because they can't speak, and then they would all kill the trolls. Is also something I used to encounter in adventure mode pretty frequently.
Yeah, identify yourself and.
Who
they
are
got
you?
Kill neutral. They got kill neutral required, so if they can't, then
yeah,
it's over.
They consider them to just be neutral, and so they just stab the trolls' friends to death. So, working on anything fun recently, or do you just want to yell at chat for a bit?
The big thing since last time is I made Burrows multi-Z designatable again. That's good.
I'm looking forward to being able to turn that DFAC feature off. Although I've gotten like weirdly used to the what's the like automatically expanding burrows thing that they added. It's that bug fixing patch that was like sort of half announced dropping. Any ideas?
Like I can never say that sort of thing.
Yeah, because like that just has me curious now as to what's gonna make it into that patch exactly.
It's like in testing, and it's got a lot. It's got a lot going on, so it's best that it be tested and not like as soon as we started testing, it turns out to crash on Linux and like the instant you open it, that sort of thing is not good. I ended up like not just I tested it on Linux and Steam Deck and made sure input worked on Steam Deck and all sorts of wonderful things. The input issues on Steam Deck, by the way, are an SDL2 issue, which is really annoying. Like an issue on the SDL2 end. You have to use weird workarounds for it.
I just want to say shoutouts to the Roasted Butterfly who keep defeating the Thrifty Confederation of Respecting. Because that's just a good series of names. Just looking around at this world. Multiple volcanoes.
I do always like the general way you get like, you know, it's like stop, they're already dead.
They just keep
like,
attacking and defeating the same place repeatedly.
Yeah, and you check and, well, turns out, you know, if you go there in adventure mode, it's like 2 humans live here, and oh, that explains why they keep attacking the place.
There is a, there was a location that I found once, or actually chat found, that was like populated with a demon and like a half dozen goblins, and it just kind of there's like a single dwarven fortress on an island full of goblins. That might be fun.
Oh no.
And they just
that it's all saltwater.
And that one location was just a fort. Like it wasn't even a permanent settlement. It was just a fort, and every year there was something like 1,800 people would die. They're just attacking it because it was getting attacked hundreds of times per year. And the demon that lived there had thousands of kills. And it was the most active war zone in the entire world. It's just kind of nuts to see this one fort. It's like everybody's just attacking it. I kind of wish that was in version 47 so you could have just seen it constantly in World Gen.
You know, the absolute control, that's a good name for a ruler. Or not a ruler, probably a force priest. The only thing that disappoints me about this right now is that, like, I think it shouldn't just show major events, it should show random crap, because there's a lot of things people just don't know about that you will find if you dig in Legends enough, but it's, you know,
I wish that you could scroll
really buried
on the abridged chronicle. Like, the fact that I can't scroll up when I pause it kind of bothers me, because usually I'll go to pause it, and then I'll go to, like, oh man, by the time it's paused, like the thing I kind of did want to read is like gone.
That's probably doable. Probably not this moment though, but still gotta. The
Dreams of the Gorlak was created. Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's showing like big events and a rock just died, that sort of thing.
The play of bone of the Cat of Scratches. The Cat of Scratches. I don't know what that is, but Also
like all
good.
these super important things, but I want to learn about like someone making good money on real estate or gambling away their
You want to look
like,
up the 31st Eurist for no particular reason, and
or at
see
least
how
I
they
wanted to
died
show
after
just
a year.
people gambling horribly or whatever.
It should just have lists of people dying. It's like so and so died, so and so died, so and so died.
Like if you go in with DF hack, you can sort by
Hydro is still
account,
good
and accounts are fun to look at.
because it shows you the amount of wealth that they have, right?
Like that's mostly abstract now. I think it can be spent on something. I don't know. I haven't looked into it deeply, but
Can't they buy land, sort of?
I think
Behind the
so.
scenes?
Like I know embezzlement gives them a bit of like wealth,
Yeah,
and
I know that
other
like
corruption tends to do it.
human locations have like shop spaces that they can work at and make money and then embezzle funds.
And there's like noble positions that do nothing that they can buy their way into or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, like my last adventure
I
was a
mean,
noble of nothing.
highly realistic. Absolute control, absolute twilight. There's a lot of absolutes here.
Mm-hmm. Did that say the destruction of buns, or did I misread that?
Bodes well for Sith. You could probably load it into a SQL database if you want. It like the XML might be. You could probably do that. I mean, Legends Viewer is sort of just look. It's putting it into a kind of database.
Chat room. This is Putnam. Putnam works on Dwarf Fortress, and I've given them a like open invitation to just like barge into my streams whenever. So we're generating worlds, so it's time to barge into stream.
I'm just like thinking of usability thing might be small that I can sneak in during testing, but it's probably
chat. What's a small usability thing you want? Go.
Testing happen. See, it's hard to tell what's small until you actually look into it. I thought the burrow thing was going to be huge, and I feel a bit bad for not checking before now because it wasn't. It wasn't a huge change.
I want to be able to put minecart routes into folders because that UI is fucked, and also for some reason I can't scroll on the military screen with the mouse wheel. I have to click on the like draw bar in order to be able to move the menu.
I've noticed the scroll bar thing.
So some of the inputs
I've noticed
don't work on that menu.
It's in a few places that this is the case, and I don't like that. I've everywhere that like I've added or adjusted scroll menus, I've made it explicitly like if your mouse is in the thing that it's scrolling, then you can scroll it, and that's how it works. And for most of them, you can also like use page up and page down on the keyboard or up and down. And I'm not sure if I missed any, but I don't think I did. Like the kitchen screen, you can go up and down and hit, I don't know what the hotkeys are. I set them to B and C to toggle brewing and cooking and things, that sort of thing. More keyboard support where I can put it. That's all stuff that I'm thinking about too.
It seems like basically everybody in chat's like recently used material.
That's probably a good one.
And again, I have no idea how big of a task that would actually be, but I know that DF Hack has something like that right now.
I'd guess it's about as big a task as what I've already done with all the other stuff so far, which is to say we're too close to release now. Well, what's improper about filtering items in the trading window?
You get a lot of false positives. And you also can't filter items. You also can't filter items that are in.
Right, I do remember this.
Also, you at one like because the stocks menu loading faster is you're doing. Any other way that you can open the stocks menu opens as slow as it used to. So if you go to put an item on a pedestal, like in my last fort, if you put an item on a pedestal, it takes like a minute to load it because I had it was like 80,000 boulders or something in that fort.
Yeah, if people ask why you need to learn about sorting algorithms, that's why.
Yeah.
The stock screen uses whatever the default standard library sort is in C++. It's probably quick sort or tim sort or something, which is pretty fast. And all the other stuff just does what is, for all intents and purposes, an insertion sort, which can be pretty slow. And there you go.
Also,
tim sort. Yeah, that makes sense.
I agree with Frog for Hire. We need to be able to be nice to Gorlax.
Do they attack Gorlax by default? I've seen Gorlax just wander in and they don't
No,
like
but
talk, but they
Gorlaks get caught in cage traps and also weapon traps and any other type of trap. So if you have any kind of traps in the caverns, they just get shredded. And also, your dogs will attack them if you have hunting or war dogs. So the dwarves don't, but they always end up dying. And because they're wild animals,
see
like there's no way for them to really join the fort unless they happen to be part of a performance group.
that all makes that. I mean, traps make sense to me. But, like, I can see why that's a problem. Dogs sort of also make sense to me, though that's more of a problem. I do think, although, like, dogs not attacking, like, random visitors, you know, by comparison, kind of bad, and Gorlaks, they're like, we should be kinder to the Gorlaks, yeah.
I feel like, you know, we get adventurers and visitors from the surface. I wish that we could just get adventurers and visitors from underground. And I know that that's probably not easy, because then we'd start getting bards showing up from underground, but, like, dwarves showing up from underground if you happen to be close to a road underground would make a lot of sense.
I mean, in general, I think more, like, in the way of interesting visitors would be really nice. It's like, that's something I've been thinking about since, like, before it was even on the table to be working on the game, that I would like. I mean, that's why, like, one of the like weird little mods I have is just like dwarves, elves, and humans that just sort of are local populations that can show up and become heroes, like animal people.
Yeah.
And like the dwarves are from underground, but that sort of thing, they just sort of show up and wander about like a Gorlak, and that's about it. And like it would be nice if there was more of a presence for the weird wilderness stuff, for like diaspora things.
Kashmir,
Stuff.
anything can
That's
leave
good.
through the caverns, but nothing can appear through the caverns, if that makes sense. So, like, traders can leave through the caverns, visitors can leave through the caverns, thieves can leave through the caverns. That's pretty common, but stuff can't show up and visit from the caverns. Yeah.
On the topic of Fey moods and cloth, Fey moods do show the exact type of cloth, but secretive ones don't. And neither do possessions, I think.
If you put a workshop that is moodable into a guild hall, it makes every single artifact into what's the infinitely repeating
Plane pact?
Plane pact, yes. Every single artifact becomes that if they're in a guild hall.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
Figured out how to cause infinite wealth.
That's like a
artifacts.
Yeah, that's a bit of a priority 3, because like, I don't know, it's always kind of funny to.
The like, Sucker of Lice is a good name. That's
eventually we might. Eventually, obviously, like just a sort of DF hack tweak / plane pact or something, but would be funny. But the little exploits like that. I mean, putting a shop in a guild hall makes too much sense, though. Like, that's the problem, right?
Yeah, which is why I started doing it, because I was like, oh yeah, that's a logical thing. You know, you throw your 2 Craftsdwarf shops for demonstration purposes or whatever. And
I saw this bug in the beta. During beta testing for 50.01. I did not identify what was causing the plane pact, but my Dwarf eventually went insane.
Literally, if you just remove it from the guild hall, it fixes it. Also, I love the way this little dwarven like faction has like shown up. There's a bunch of elves south. There's humans all the way along the left side, and then the right side is just all these little hillixes along the base of this mountain range.
Monster hunters sitting around and killing stuff in the caverns, that's what they're for. That's what they do. Yeah,
that's literally their only behavior, is they go around.
Like, you might think dragons are monsters, but no, those are too scary. They only signed up for like Drolthas and things. Even giant cave spiders might be a bit too spicy.
Yeah, they're literally going down to fight like cave crocodiles. That's about it.
Yeah, maybe the occasional giant cave ogre. I don't know.
Well, this is.
It is a bit funny that they'll just show up if you have caverns open ever, and like there's no way to avoid them showing up.
Not if you're in a quiet part of the world, but I really like the way this world is generating. This is also really cool down here.
Like, usability does seem like a really high priority. I'm trying to add filtering and things where it's appropriate. trade screen seems like a good next step, actually, because there's a lot of things that, like, being able to filter out things that you're trading, the people you're trading with would not want or would refuse would be good, for example.
Not on vacation anymore. Don't sure how much I
like
can catch,
that seems like
but
something your
excited
dwarves
for
would know.
creature
Why
keepers.
wouldn't they roll a die based on their judge of intent skill to see if they'll accept items? Oh yeah, monster hunters tend to be serial artifact hoarders too. Slash stealers.
According to YouTube chat, they're having issues with captured beak dogs from sieges not reproducing. You mean soldiers that attacked alongside of goblins, or do you mean ones that you've captured yourself? Because if you capture them from a goblin site, they're already tame. But I'm assuming you mean active siegers, because they're marked as hostile. I don't think there's any way to unmark them as hostile. And if they could reproduce and you had to wait for a siege, then you'd end up also having to fight a bunch of baby ones, which would be a problem.
Not much to be done about that except to remove the flag with TF hack or whatever, which, that might be a problem, but, like, that's just another, another point on the litany of issues with capturing enemies. Like, what do you do with them? Nothing. Throw them in the magma, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I would really like if, like, say you had X number of, like, captured goblins, if the goblins showed up and they gave you a parlay to give them back the captured goblins, I think that would be really cool, but that would be probably a pretty complicated fix.
Yeah, it is only numpad. You have to use a custom control scheme if you want to play on no numpad keyboards. It's
on current adventure mode, yeah.
Oh no, and well, yeah, current. When you said current, for some reason I thought like 50 adventure mode, but even I haven't played that yet.
That's fair. Yeah, if you're trying to play like version 50, you have to completely rebind the keyboard, which is, I don't even know how to do that in version 47 adventure mode, because you have to be able to move diagonally.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can always just go like HJKL and so on.
Yeah, it's not exactly a... I know that people have pointed that out for years. It's like, yeah, you could just use H, J, K, and L, or, like, you could not. It's like, that is... I'm just still amazed that people own keyboards that don't have numpads. But
I think really small, like, tablet keyboards might not, or, like, notepad keyboards, whatever you like, the netbook. I keep forgetting the term for really small laptops.
If you're on a smaller laptop keyboard, that makes sense to me. But if you're at a desktop computer and you don't have a numpad, what are you doing? Why are you trying to game on an iMac?
Do they sell those?
What, like separate numpads?
No, well, I know they sell those, but do they sell keyboards without one? Like full desktop keyboards?
Oh yeah, you can get like short desktop keyboards that like don't have like the F key rows at all, and like it's just the QWERTY. Like just go look up mini ducky keyboards or something. Like they absolutely make those.
Slab engraving, like it.
Oh yeah.
It's supposed to show it in order of like ones that need memorialized. Then
ghosts at the top.
Like, yeah, it's supposed to do that. It doesn't right now, and I'm not sure why. I legitimately like it like sorts it by name after doing all that, and I guess that's the problem. I don't know, but I couldn't find the place where it sorts it, so I'm just kind of baffled.
Speaking of slabs, and more specifically, return the slab. I've always like had this dream where if for some reason you happened upon a slab with somebody's name tag on it, it would be like normal for that thing to try and reclaim that slab so that they don't get, booted out of office. Right? I'm trying to say this slightly spoiler-free, for some reason. I don't know why. I would love it if those creatures could just like show up to try and take the slab back.
I think they try to avoid the slab, really, since anyone who has it can just read off of it. And,
true, but you'd think that they would send armies, like maybe not them, but like their cronies.
That's fair. What was the?
Oh, it's a goblin fortress. This one dwarven fortress got taken over by goblins.
you said return the slab, and I actually thought that mummies do need a place in fortress mode. Right now they're
Yeah.
adventure mode only.
Like we straight up just we literally have the mummy in Dwarf Fortress, but nobody knows.
Yeah,
It's like, how are you gonna find one in
their,
Fortress mode? Like, you just don't.
Like, you go to their tomb, it's filled with traps, it's all very Indiana Jones, you steal their thing, a mummy comes out of the wall, it says, I curse you, and then you have a 10% chance of just completely failing any roll for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's great. Okay, I like this world so far. We got some really big rivers,
Crypt comfy crypt beer.
which is always a good time. Really, thanks for the 14th month. We got lots of goblins. We've got multiple volcanoes. Tons of serene and mirthful areas as well.
I think serene is easier than... No, serene's not easier than calm, but it's about the same.
Yeah, well, I mean, serene is the calm equivalent. Doesn't necessarily mean it's easier. I think it also depends on what happens to be in the vicinity, right?
Yeah, well, you're not gonna get, like, unicorns or anything, so it's good.
And then mirthful's slightly bigger animals, and then joyous wilds is the one. Yeah, so there's a mirthful area up here. There is a joyous wilds area, but I think it might be specifically on an island. There's another island with just goblins on it. There's a joyous wilds area, but it's all alone on an island. You can maybe build a bridge to that, maybe.
I had to look up to see if this is a thing in the string dump and thus not actually, like, revealing anything weird.
And this is...
I would like for necromancers to be able to properly, like, raise ghosts. That'd be fun.
Oh boy.
I don't think so. But yeah, there's like, it's in the string dump. If you look at the interaction sources, it's right between resurrect and animate is raise ghost. I don't think it's actually a thing they can do right now, but it'd be funny.
Did you ever have...
Like,
have you ever encountered that bug where, like, ghosts think they're still alive even though they're dead, and they operate as normal dwarves for a bit?
No, I'm not sure how that could happen. Most of the things that, like, check for ghost behavior, or, like, check for normal behavior, check if they're a ghost first.
I think what happens is if they're undead, and you tell them to leave the map, they used to come back as a ghost. I think that was, like, what would cause it to happen, because the only times I've ever had it happen, the ghost has been in the military. And they
share a unit ID.
Oh, no, it's when they leave the map, and then, air quotes, they die when they're off map as a zombie, I think is, like, the order of operations that needs to happen. And then when they come back as a ghost, and then they, like, just walk around and carry a sword for a bit and train until they just disappear.
That's odd.
I've absolutely had that happen, not in this version, though. Although, admittedly, I haven't done too much with Undead.
During testing, turns out ghosts are, like, the single worst thing you can have in your fortress. Like, I think it makes... That's part of why slab usability is so important, because, like, unhappiness, the single biggest cause of it I've ever seen is ghosts. People are extremely bothered by ghosts. I guess because they're, like, a consistent source of trauma.
Also, speaking of trauma, because Kriseki in Twitch chat just pointed this out, can we please have it set so that children do not haul, refuse, clean, or haul corpses or bury corpses by default?
Yeah,
because everybody's always going on and 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 on about how psychotic their children are. It's like, literally just go into chores and disable burial and refuse hauling, and you'll have no problems.
That might be the first. The second issue is
it's literally just a toggle.
I thought about going into this and looking, but it looked like some, like, behavior changes that would be a bit much.
But, like, it's a setting in chores.
No, that bit's easy. Yeah.
Okay.
But also making them not like
play and
pretend where they stand. Like, the instant they're done with the job, they just do it where they are. So if they're hauling corpses, they'll haul the corpse to the corpse pile, and then they'll just stand there among the corpses and start skipping around and occasionally looking at a corpse and screaming or whatever.
Yeah, and among corpses, the Among Us sequel that nobody wanted.